2016 was not a great year for like anybody, but when it comes to movies, I thought it was pretty awesome. And I know I'm late, but I've been wanting to talk about my top 10 favorite movies of that year because there were some good movies and I want to talk about them. Now my number 10 for 2016 is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Now that's gonna get a lot of hate either because people hate this movie and shouldn't be on the list, or people who think it's too low on the list. Now I love Star Wars. I am a huge fan of Star Wars and I was so excited for this movie. And it didn't disappoint. I enjoyed it the entire time. It's just that it had a ton of problems throughout the beginning and it wasn't as great as all these other movies I have on the list. But I do love this movie. I thought it was so good. I thought it was really fast paced. I thought it was action packed. A lot of it was really good. I love the special effects. It looked and reminded me of the original Star Wars. I'm a fan of Star Wars. I liked the prequels besides Attack of the Clones because I just don't think that's a movie. I just think it's garbage. In this movie, really just connects to the original Star Wars. It's freaking awesome. One of the reasons this had to be on my list is because one of the last scenes in the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it. Freaking awesome. Now my number 9 is going to be Hell or High Water. Now this is one of those movies that I watched way later in the year because I had no idea it existed. Yeah, it's one of those movies that just surprised me just out of nowhere because people were talking about it, and so I decided to watch it and I loved it. And I really love the story between these two brothers. Ben Foster was freaking awesome as this crazy psychopathic brother of his. Chris Pine was great too. Jeff Bridges, his voice kind of annoyed me in some places because I couldn't really understand him. He was like Bane the first time I watched The Dark Knight Rises. But you know what? This movie made up for it. I really love the story. I love the action. And it felt like a really great Western, and that surprises me because I'm not the biggest fan of Westerns, but it was a great movie. I really liked it. Number 8 is another one that might get hate because it's pretty low on the list, but my number 8 is going to be Captain America Civil War. Now Captain America Civil War was just one of those movies that just blew my mind the first time I watched it. Everything about it got me so excited. You know, seeing the Avengers fight against each other. We saw Iron Man and Captain America and their whole thing. The dramatic story elements were really great. The comedic timing was awesome. Spider-Man was in this movie. This movie just had it all. This is one of those instant classics superhero movies. This is one of those superhero movies that's gonna go down in history as one of the greatest of all time. Number 7 is Deepwater Horizon. Now, Deepwater Horizon is one of the most intense movies I've ever seen in my life. You're just waiting for that oil rig accident to happen. You connect with Mark Wahlberg's character and you connect with the situation. It just all goes to crap. And when it does, it does. I love this movie. It was really intense. I really enjoyed it. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's really intense. It's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. Now my number 6 is Deadpool. Now Deadpool was freaking amazing. Like, I loved watching this movie throughout the entire time. I've owned the Blu-ray. I've put it into my PS3 all the time to watch it. Like, I can't stop watching this movie and I don't get bored of it. The jokes are just so great and it's so crudely funny. It's so violent. It's so awesome. It's so Deadpool. That's why I really love this movie, because the character of Deadpool was finally redeemed from that awful one we got in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And Ryan Reynolds is freaking perfect as Deadpool. I can't wait for the sequel to come out because I know it's promising and I know it's going to be as good as this if they really put the passion in, because that's why this movie turned out to be the way it is. It's freaking awesome. Alright, we're getting into the top 5. These top 5 really hit me where I live. Like, these were great movies all around and I'm really happy to talk about them. Number 5 is Patriots Day. Patriots Day is the other movie that came out this year, directed by Peter Berg, starring Mark Wahlberg as the lead character. And it's about the Boston bombing that happened in the marathon in 2013. And my goodness, is this such a great movie. Like, it's intense, it's real, and it's raw. It's like, it's hard to watch at times because that's the point. It's real, and they're showing like real footage from the marathon bombings, and that was kind of hard to watch. But the manhunt after the bombing and how they caught these two terrorists, like, it's such a great movie, and I loved the human spirit that went into finding these guys. It was just humans coming together to find these two guys before they did any more wrong, and I really enjoyed watching this movie. It's a hard one to watch, not for everyone, but I really highly recommend you watch this sometime. Now, I said Patriots Day was a pretty hard movie to watch, but these next two movies, not a pretty picture. My number 4 is Silence, the 3-hour drama pick by Martin Scorsese. Now, this movie has been a movie that Martin Scorsese has been wanting to make for a long time. And if you don't know Martin Scorsese, he's the man behind The Wolf of Wall Street, The Gangs of New York, The Departed. This is really different from whatever else he makes, because this movie is just about two people who are of faith and they want to find one of their own, and they're off in Japan where it's really dangerous to talk about another religion, but these Christian priests teach their religion to people who want them to teach him, and they get into these terrible situations, and it's a really hard movie to watch, but it's a great movie. Like, the cinematography is beautiful. If I could say a movie looked perfect, this movie looks perfect the entire time. Martin Scorsese and his cinematographer, whoever it may be, I might put his name in the screen, but they just work together so well. The cinematography in this movie is beautiful. The acting in this movie is amazing. Andrew Garfield gives one of the best performances of his life. And Liam Neeson was pretty good too. He wasn't in there for that long, but he was in there. And yeah, it was a great movie. I didn't feel bored the entire time because it's 3 hours long, so it might feel like a drag for a lot of people out there. But to me, I stayed awake the whole time and I was hooked on this story. It was great. Number 3 is Hacksaw Ridge. Now, Hacksaw Ridge is the return of Mel Gibson to his directing roots, and it's an amazing comeback. I love this movie. It was so good, but when the war hits, when the battle scenes hit, they hit like a truck. I forgot the whole way that this is a war movie by Mel Gibson. It's pretty violent, it's pretty gory, but it shows it in a realistic way that it doesn't feel like it's like glorifying violence or anything. This is just what the battlefield looks like. It is a hard movie to watch, but the acting in it is so great. Andrew Garfield gave a performance again. He was freaking awesome in this movie. I just love this movie. I love the whole message being follow your instincts and follow your human spirit and follow your morals, and it's great. I loved it. Now, before I get into my number 2, my least favorite genres in film of all time is romance and musicals. My number 2 is La La Land. Now, when you could get 2 of my least favorite genres in movies and make it good and make it something that makes me smile the entire time, you deserve to be on the list, and you deserve to be high on the list. La La Land was one of the most enjoyable movies I watched this year. It was so fun to watch. The musical numbers I thought were fantastic. Emma Stone gave a great performance. Ryan Gosling gave a great performance too. I loved watching these two together, and I loved the music, and I loved how beautiful this movie looked. It was just beautifully shot. And if I could say another movie that was beautifully shot perfectly, it'd be this movie, because there were some shots where I just thought, you couldn't have done that better. Like, that was the perfect shot for that scene. It was great. I loved watching this movie. It was just a great time in the theater. And I just loved everything about it. I loved Damien Chazelle, who was the director's first movie, which is Whiplash. My number 1 of whatever year it came out of. I love that movie. And I didn't expect the same feeling for this movie, but it was great. I loved it. My number 1 is going to surprise a ton of people. Some people haven't even heard of this movie, which is terrible, because this movie deserves a lot more praise than it got when it came out, and now too, because it really hasn't been heard of. My number 1 for 2016 is The Nice Guys. It's such a great film. I loved watching this entire movie the whole way through. It's just my style of comedy, and it made me laugh the entire time. I've never seen a movie so much funnier than this. I mean, I can name a couple, but I laughed a lot during this movie. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling gave some great performances that are so underrated, because Ryan Gosling was so funny in this movie. He was freaking awesome. Russell Crowe gave a really cool performance because he's Russell Crowe, so he's gonna give a good performance. But Ryan Gosling surprised the heck out of me. He made me laugh the entire time. There was a kid actor in there, Angourie Rice, who did an amazing job, and you don't get that a lot from kid actors these days. And everything about this movie just made it my movie. It was my style, and it was just like, it was perfect to me. I really loved this movie. I really dug the entire time. I freaking love this movie. That's why it's my number 1. So I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with this list, but I don't care. You have your opinions, I have my opinions. I love these movies. You might love other movies, which is great. You might have Star Wars at number 1. You might have Suicide Squad at number 1. I might question your sanity, but it's cool. I won't judge you that much. Guys, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below your list, or tell me what your favorite movies were of 2016, because I want to know. I want to talk about this stuff. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. See you guys later.